Welcome to This Week in Princeton Vikings Athletics here on VikeNation.org and ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports. I'm Jason Griefer. Today, we're joined by Princeton Assistant AD Matt Weber. Matt, good to have you here with us, and let's jump right into it and talk about some of your teams at Princeton High School. We're also, at the end of the show, we're going to talk about the athletics to the middle school level, because you oversee a lot of that at the middle school level. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But let's start off first at the high school level, and let's talk about the swim team. And they're going to be back in action tonight against Loveland, and we'll actually be carrying that match on watchhsports.tv a little bit later on today, 5 o'clock there at Princeton. It'll be senior night, which is nice to be able to have that at this point, coming off the nice win over Little Miami over the weekend. And as we have moved through this season, got through the fall season, now we're getting towards the back half of the winter sports season. We're actually getting to have a senior night, and that's a really nice thing. And I don't know that a lot of people thought we would be able to get there, but particularly here in the pool, how happy are you that these seniors here are able to have a senior night like this, given everything that's gone on and also how much they've given back to Princeton?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, good morning, Jason. Glad to be a part of this morning and talk and promote Princeton athletics. A very special day today for our 9 seniors on our swim team. It's been a whirlwind roller coaster ride for all of our student athletes across the country here with this pandemic. But, when you look at swimming, a lot of our athletes were also involved with water polo. If you remember, water polo got moved from the fall to the spring. So usually when you come into the swim season, they've already kind of been accustomed to the swimming pool in the fall. So they've had to really make a lot of different changes. I know our coaches have had to make a lot of changes there. So to have them compete this winter with all of our athletes is really special. And for us to be able to recognize our 9 seniors tonight and have ESP Media part of that is very special. Of course, we're following all the COVID guidelines, and capacity may not be how it used to be, but being able to utilize different outlets to promote our student athletes, whether it's through our district YouTube channels or ESP Media and your team. So again, we're very excited to have you guys come out this afternoon. Looking forward to that. I know our seniors are excited to have a true senior feel swim meet. They've worked extremely hard this season, all the way throughout the program, whether they've started at the middle school or just at the high school. But they put in a lot of time and effort. The parents have put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, and appreciate all the hard work that both student athletes and the families have put forth to get to where we are today. And now kind of seeing a little bit more clarity with the postseason and the GMC swim championships coming right around the corner there. And then, of course, sectionals and regionals and so forth there. So you're starting to see more clarity there, and it's starting to feel a little bit normal to have a true kind of senior night tonight. So really looking forward to that. And I know our kids and coaches are as well.
And we'll be looking forward to cover that against Loveland starting at 5 o'clock on watchhsports.tv. Let's move on and let's talk about your wrestling team. They're back in action after a tough meet over the weekend out in Moeller there. A lot of tough competition there, but they're back in action this coming Wednesday. They're going to take on Oak Hills on the mats, and we're going to have that on watchhsports.tv as well. For fans that have not been able to come out to the matches, some of them may be seeing the team for the first time when we cover this on watchhsports.tv. What can they expect from the Vikings when they take them out against Oak Hills?
Well, first off, the Vikings are going to compete. We're going to compete hard on the mats, and you're going to see a lot of great efforts, individual efforts throughout the weight classes there. Our coaches are continuing to prepare them to get ready for the next opponent. It's been a grind for them throughout the season, just like with every other team going on right now, but they're going to compete and they're going to wrestle as hard as they can. And you're going to see a lot of great individual performances, and you're starting to see that over the last few weeks as we kind of head into the postseason. So again, for those that haven't followed much on the wrestling program, they continue to work hard. That is a very tough sport. Very tough sport, and also on top of everything going on with the pandemic, it is a sport that I give a lot of credit to the coaches and our student athletes and parents on that end. But they're going to work hard. They're going to compete hard. I know they work hard every day and prepare to get better each and every match. So excited to see what they can do against the Highlanders. I know they're ready and excited to be home for a true home duel match. It's been a while for them to be back here at Princeton. So excited for that. And again, excited that ESP Media is able to promote and broadcast that match for us.
You talked there at the beginning there about the development and the progression, especially as of late. As you said, the postseason's nearing. What's it been like to see for you and to Met and Joe to see them, building and trending in the right direction as we're heading towards the postseason?
I think number one, you're starting to see the underclassmen and the returning wrestlers continue to gain confidence, continue to showcase their individual skill. You're starting to see more development from a tactical and technical standpoint. But more importantly, I think it's more the confidence and how it's building throughout the team. And you're seeing that over recent weeks and throughout the competitions and individual matches. But I would say number one is you're starting to see the confidence spread, and that's contagious in any sport. So the Vikings are trending in the right direction, most definitely, and excited to be home against the Highlanders.
Again, that's Princeton versus Oak Hills on the wrestling mats Wednesday, and we will have that on watchhsports.tv. Let's move on and let's talk about your academic quiz team. Still looking for their first win in a very, very difficult GMC. There are a lot of great teams in the GMC and the academic quiz team. You're going to take on Hamilton this coming Wednesday, and coming off a competitive match against Mason last week, and we see freshman Sam Green be named a GMC Athlete of the Week after answering 9 questions in the second match against Mason. So a good honor for Sam there, and we're approaching kind of the midway point of the academic season. As we talk about it, it's kind of it's a very tough league. Your Fairfields, your Sycamores, that are up there seemingly every year. To get a performance like that from a freshman coming in and really getting that varsity experience right now from Sam, what can that do for him long term, and how can that permeate through the team?
Well, I think it's just an incredible honor to see a freshman named a GMC Athlete of the Week, no matter what the sport is. Freshman underclassmen, just showcasing the skills and abilities there in that specific sport. And they answered 9 questions correctly. Those questions are tough. The league is tough. Each match is tough. And our student athletes continue to work hard. Coach Mulholland and his team continue to work hard each week. And you did mention that, the Vikings are still seeking that first victory as far as in the schedule, but you're seeing a lot of growth. And, just from this past week, having a freshman named GMC Athlete of the Week and answering 9 questions, the confidence is there. And it, again, like we talked about earlier in the segment, it's contagious. And if you continue to work hard and continue to build upon different momentums and goals set forth by each individual and team, you're just moving in the right direction. The student athletes are having a good time and enjoying the sport, and it's a very tough sport. It's a very tough sport, and it's it definitely challenges the mental aspect. And again, couldn't be more proud of Sam as a freshman receiving GMC Athlete of the Week honors and stepping up there, and looking forward to the leadership over the next 3 years for Sam in that sport.
Yeah, and can't stress enough how tough this GMC is really over the last couple of years, and this year it's no different. You're talking about some of the best academic teams, in all of Southwest Ohio, and some will probably have a chance to make deep runs in the postseason, maybe contend for state titles. That's how good this league is. So, yes, we're still looking for that first win. We're only a few matches into the season, though, so there's a lot of time left to be had and a lot of time left to start racking up those wins, and hopefully that begins Wednesday against Hamilton. Let's move on to the bowling lanes, and the boys out at the Cardinal Classic over the weekend. Pretty big deal that tournament is. You had nearly 20 teams out there, and Cody Carlson just does what he does. He leads the GMC in scoring. Average wise, he's up near, I think, like a 220 average, 225 average, which is just nuts to an amateur like me. But he goes out there at the Cardinal Classic, and he's named to the all-tournament team and throws a 474 series, a 2-game series of 474 combined. One of those is 287, so he nearly throws a perfect game out at the Cardinal Classic. That's a pretty big deal, to do that amongst so many great teams and so many great individual bowlers. We talked last week with Joe about kind of the impact that he's had throughout the rest of the team and how he's helping kind of pull the rest of the team up and try and get everybody else kind of to where he is or in that vicinity of where he is because he's just been that good. But to come off of a performance like this, what does that do for Cody's personal confidence level going forward into the latter stage of the regular season, knowing that he can go into a meet like this against so many outside teams and bowlers and know that he can get it done? I'd have to think that's pretty big for his confidence going into a postseason where it's going to be a similar format.
Yeah, I agree, Jason. Cody has been an outstanding bowler over the course of his high school career. Last year he was GMC Bowler of the Year. He just continues to get better and better each day. The confidence continues to soar, and he's a student athlete that is just hungry. He's always looking to perfect some sort of skill in his match or in the practice, and he's always looking to one up. And, it's an incredible honor for him this past weekend to bowl the way he did, to receive the recognition he has received. And it's just a trend over his high school career. I mean, all conference bowler, GMC Bowler of the Year, and now you're starting to see more of that leadership that was there in the past, but you're really starting to see that blossom. He's been through the trenches, the grind of the GMC bowling schedule. I mean, you hit it on the head, a little bit ago as far as the GMC. The GMC is one of the toughest conferences throughout the state of Ohio, if not the toughest conference, and throughout all the sports. And for a student athlete and a senior to receive all the individual honors, to receive, the accolades and the goals, he's not finished. He wants to continue to progress and continue to move forward, and he has goals of his own and as a team. But it's a joy to see somebody like Cody really blossom over 4 years, but then you're really starting to see him showcase the leadership and help be that coach away from Coach Wilson, so to speak. So I know he's hungry to achieve more greatness and goals throughout this end of the season here and postseason run. But I mean, he's pretty close to 300, and that, you said it before. I mean, we need bumpers. These student athletes are just so gifted and talented, and no matter what sport it is, how they dedicate themselves, the parents that support them throughout a season, the coaches. I mean, these sports are tough. And not to mention, we're in a pandemic right now. So on top of everything else, and to see the achievement for all of our student athletes right now, and, particularly bowling, as we talk about with Cody, it's just unbelievable. And, to see the other student athletes really kind of absorb up to Cody and look for him for that leadership. And he's there to help the other student athletes get better each week. And you're starting to see that. And, that's just a tip of the cap of the type of student athlete that Cody is. And I wish him the best throughout the rest of this season and into tournament, because he's not done and he's very hungry to achieve those goals that he's set forth throughout the beginning of the year.
He could make a heck of a coach for amateurs like you and us, you and I think for sure. Because maybe at some point he could help us get the bumpers off the lanes, but
I hope so. I mean, but it's just incredible. I mean, that sport is tough. It's tough. And to see how well our student athletes throughout the season, both the girls team and the boys team, they're progressing in the right direction. They're building confidence and they're doing all the right things that get better each week. And, again, it's amazing to see the performances that are taking place by our student athletes.
Well, speaking of building confidence and the way they perform, let's talk about your boys basketball team picking up a monster win over Mason on Saturday. And this was a game we had on WatchHSSports.tv. Fans can go back and watch it. Kind of a struggle a bit in the first half to try to find a rhythm, particularly offensively. And then they come out of the locker room and in the third quarter just blow the doors off of Mason and really almost run them out of the gym, outscoring Mason 25-7. In that third quarter, and it winds up being the difference. Win the game 69-60. You also shoot 8 for 11 from 3-point range, which is just incredible given the fact that it kind of been that kind of shooting had kind of been off and on for the team going into that game. But in that game, it seemed like everybody could do everything, nothing wrong. Riley Woods was great off the bench, 8 points, 8 assists. This is a really big team win. Gary Johnson, 20 off the bench. Everybody who came in was a factor in this one. What did Coach Wyatt have to say after the win, just about how the team played? And then maybe, did he say anything about getting that technical for being a little too overzealous there?
You mentioned earlier, the first half, that's just a GMC battle, right? Each coach trying to figure out what the other coach is trying to do. And you're seeing that a lot. I mean, again, the GMC is a tough conference. There's a lot of great teams, a lot of great coaches throughout the league. And, it becomes that puzzle, that chess match, early on, you're trying to counter one way over the other. And, it was a back and forth affair, a very tough first half. But again, coming out of the locker room, Jesse Olverson in particular scores the first 11 points of the third quarter. They scored 25 points in the third quarter, shoot nearly 73% from the floor. One of the big things that I noticed that stood out was, the team, 19 assists, 23 made field goals. The Vikings were looking for that open player, and they were shooting the ball so well. And, to have, 3 people in double figures again, almost 4 in double figures. And, again, you mentioned Riley Woods, 8 assists of the 19 assists, really being that floor general off the bench for Coach Wyatt. But, again, team shooting very well, 19 assists, 23 made field goals. And, again, the third quarter, 25 points. And, they go out first 11 points of first half, that second half, is Jesse Olverson. So, again, the Vikings are finding ways that come at our, the opponents. And, again, a very big matchup. The team has battled a lot through all the quarantines, just like a lot of teams. This game was supposed to be played early on. And, just that alone has, continued to be, those obstacles that all the teams are facing. But, again, come out, battle adversity first half, come out the second half, and really, kind of played the Viking basketball that I know Coach Wyatt continues to preach for the student athletes here. And, you see that in the second half, and that ended up being the difference in the ball game.
And they get the win there. They're going to go to Oak Hills this Friday. We'll have that one on watchhsports.tv. Over on the girls' side, a team still sitting in second place in the GMC, but now have hit a little bit of a bumpy patch here. Losing the game against Lakota West. Again, Chance Gray of Lakota West goes nuts, scores more than 30 points. She's up there for GMC Player of the Year. Get the win against Oak Hills, which was good. Keep pace in league play, and then Mason comes back and gets a win over your team there as well, coming into our conversation here today. And they'll be back in action this weekend. They're going to go to Lakota East. We'll have that one as well on watchhsports.tv. And so they're in an interesting spot right now, because now they're 2 games behind Mason in the loss column, a game and a half behind overall. But this matchup with Lakota East, a rematch from about a month ago, you held Lakota East to 6 made baskets in the game, winning by 21. But I want to talk specifically about one of your players, Taryn Cash. She's had a pretty tough stretch as of late. Just things have just really not gone her way, really on either side of the game. She's been in some foul trouble, been kind of quiet offensively. As we're heading into the stretch run here, how important is it going to be for Coach Phillips and the team around her to get Taryn Cash going in this final run?
Well, I think right now what you're seeing is, opponents, making adjustments throughout the season. You're starting to see that now heading down the stretch in the second half into postseason play. Coach Phelps is an outstanding basketball coach. She's phenomenal. And, she understands the importance of having, all of our players ready to go and, finding the right mix throughout, the season and the games and stuff like that. So, what she does on the floor as a coach is just remarkable. I mean, she's unbelievable what she does as far as development wise and, game plan wise. So as we head into the Lakota East game, of course, she understands the, who's playing well, the areas that, we need to focus on, because each game is different. Each opponent is trying to do something different. Can always make every basket, that's not realistic there. But I think more importantly, it's just the confidence. They're still 8-2. They're sitting at second currently in the GMC standings, and a lot to play for still. And, this season is unlike any other. You never know what's going to happen. And, Coach Phillips knows best as far as making sure the Lady Vikings are ready to go for the next opponent. And that's all you can look for. You can't look ahead to a couple games down the road. We're hitting the final stretch piece of the conference schedule. But, with anything, and like all the basketball coaches know in particular, you never know what to expect, in that 12 to 24 hours. So, but as far as playing, the confidence there is important. Everyone, you want to have that high confidence as players and as a team as we move, as the team moves forward into the season, and in particularly to the tournament play. But again, tough game last night, but, again, still sitting 8-2 in the conference. A lot of outstanding things that have taken place this season for the Lady Vikings, and I know they'll regroup today and get ready for the next opponent and continue to play hard.
As we're moving along here and coming towards the end of our conversation here today, as we talk to the top of the show, you're assistant AD at Princeton High School, but you also see a lot of the middle school athletics in and around the Princeton City School District. Kind of take us through, take a whip around the middle school athletics programs and what stands out to you there.
Yeah, number one is it's been a very successful season, right? We've had a season. We entered the winter season not knowing, what's going to happen. We're still facing adversity every day with the pandemic. Student athletes, the coaches, the parents have been outstanding. I can't thank them enough for the extra effort, the extra support throughout this pandemic and season. It's been a lot of adjustments going on with schedules and practice times and games being moved left and right. And it's very tough to keep track. And, I think we all know that we're in it for the support of our student athletes and our coaches, and we want them to have an opportunity to participate in, wrestling. Right now today, they're heading to Hopewell, the face-off in their GMC dual tournament there. So excited for Coach DeMarco Davis and Coach Maceo Powell. They've done an outstanding job with our wrestlers. They continue to work hard every day in a different type of year. But again, they continue to work hard, and they've showed a lot of progress and a lot of success. And looking forward to them wrestling today and having the opportunity to compete in the GMC Junior High Championships there today. This past weekend, Princeton hosted over 21 schools for a Southwest Junior High Swim Championships. In the co-ed division, the Lady Vikings finished third overall. So to be able to have that type of tournament for not just our kids, but also all of the schools, and the kind of close the season, bring a season to a close is very special there. And a lot of hard work behind the scenes with the league and our coaches and different coaches throughout the area, just trying to put something together to make sure that the student athletes had something to swim for, and glad that it all worked out. And again, this Saturday, we're starting GMC Basketball Tournaments for our 7th and 8th grade boys and girls teams. Really excited to see how far the teams can go. They've showed a lot of progress, and they're trending all in the right direction. 7th grade boys actually received the top seed there, and, Princeton's being a host site here. So hopefully that, having the home court advantage throughout the 7th grade tournament will help the Vikings. But again, just like anything, all teams got to come ready to play and be prepared for the opponent's best game. And again, the coaches and players, everyone has done a really good job, and really excited to see what the postseason brings for our student athletes here.
Well, they're certainly trending in the right direction. It's good to have that program in place. That way, when they come to Princeton High School, they're ready to go. They're ready to step in and contribute at the high school level. And good to see the success early on there at the middle school level as well. And really a good week all the way around for Princeton, the middle school and the high school level. And we're going to have a lot more coverage this week on WatchHSSports.tv. Matt Weber, we certainly appreciate some of the time and talking about it, and we'll look forward to catching up down the road.
Thank you, Jason.
That is Princeton Assistant Athletic Director Matt Weber joining us for This Week in Princeton Vikings Athletics here on VikeNation.org and ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.